For those who are new, this is a channel that I've developed to share lessons learned, to share my journey and some practical tools to living in purpose and doing what you love and what's aligned with your calling. That can be a career, but it can also be anything that you want to change in your life and have a meaningful life. Now, today I'm going to focus on something that we hear as an advice many times, at least I've heard that multiple times, that we should not share what are we going to do. If we have something new and exciting, we shouldn't share that, especially in the early stages of its development. Is that a good thing to share what we want to do, what we love doing, or is that something that we should wait for a more established time when to do that? If you are being told that you have been sharing something too early and that is preventing you from moving forward, is making you question, should I actually go on with what I was thinking I wanted to do, or should I go back, or are you intimidated now just because somebody else told you that that's not a good idea? Now, I want to give you an example. For example, this YouTube channel, something like makes me think, am I talking to myself only? And are those people even going to watch it? And so what I did is, as I always do, I talk about my passion very openly. And most of the times I've been told, don't do that too early. But then I still love talking about my passion, my calling, that I want to help people. So I don't really care if it's going to be viewed or not. But still, does it influence me when people tell me that? Of course it does somehow. Does it prevent me from doing it? No, but it does influence me. So I do feel like I know how you might feel about the fact when you are told that that's not a good idea, or why are you doing this? It's not what you have been wanting to do before. I thought that I also was not taking myself too seriously, because I'm doing these videos, but I don't know if I'm taking myself so seriously. All I know is that if it helps somebody out there, and I also am enjoying doing it because I really love, as I said, these things, because I think I have a strong why behind, and also the process of making them, it matches with what I'm kind of very natural towards. But still, I felt like, is it because I also am not taking myself so seriously? I had to remind myself what my why is, because if I remind myself of my calling and why I'm doing it, because I want to help people, then I should not be laughing about it. Like, I should not be laughing at somebody congratulating me. I should say, oh, thank you, and take myself seriously. But when I went back to my alignment stage and I recalled my calling, then I became more serious about it. And I said, you know what? Actually, these reactions that I'm getting from my family when I tell them what I wanted to do, I'm going to make a video out of it, because I feel like it has a value for other people who go out there and talk about what they want to do. And here there are other people crashing maybe it's their ideas. Some get some support, but some don't. And maybe it's questioning them, also shaking them from what they want to do, and sometimes they even stop going forward with what they wanted to do. So it's really important to align and go back to the alignment stage and recall your why. But I think, so depending on who you're approaching and telling it too early about something that you want to do, and it's hard even for you to believe what you are going to accomplish out of it. Imagine other people who don't see the results. I've always been very open towards trying something that has not been done before, or it's kind of out of reach, just because I really have this strong alignment now. I have a strong connection to my calling, and I think that is what kind of keeps me not so shaken in the long term, because in the short term, in that second when I hear these feedbacks, they do kind of influence me. And I'm in the country where not many people are doing this, so it is very easy to get out of track because of these circumstances that might not support your calling practically. It really depends on who you're talking to. So I don't quite agree that you should not talk about your calling or what you want to do very early in the stage. You just need to have a very strong alignment with your calling, and that stage of the alignment should be there, the stage of unlocking those self-limiting beliefs, and see, did you achieve your intrinsic motivation? In leadership, we talk about intrinsic and external motivation. So in intrinsic, it's something that it's really aligned to your calling. It's aligned to what pulls you. And in that way, then it's kind of very hard for something external to shake you. But unless you have that very clear and you have found what pulls you in that direction, then the external environment will be very easily shaking you. So that's very important. Another thing that I think you need to consider before you just go throw yourself out there saying and communicating things, you also need to have a very supportive system. And the supportive system sometimes is not just like the advice you get many times, like go and watch how somebody else did it. Well, it is motivating. I've done that myself. I've watched multiple videos on how other people did something, or the highly successful people, how they did it. But then while that can bring you some level of motivation, which can be a bit of short-term spike. I went to Tony Robbins master classes, and for a month it was very motivating, like you feel all powered up, I can do this too, you know. But then after some time, unless you have built, as I said before, the very strong stage of alignment, the very strong stage of unlocking your self-limiting beliefs and letting them go, that takes time. So just because you have watched a video of somebody successful and in that day you felt all empowered to do that too, it takes time, because the next day somebody else might shake those initiatives that you have taken, and or you just talk about them. And this is when you are not having the strong backbone to keep going. So you can take yourself through this journey, and remember that it is a journey. It's not a one-time deal. Once you have this reminder to yourself about having this clear intrinsic motivation and having unlocking the limiting beliefs, it is then easier for you to talk about your calling and what you're trying to do, even in the early stages, because as I said, the strong backbone is going to be a nice reminder for you, even if you have those shaky moments, which is normal to have. And that's the point here, to normalize the process of getting there, and not considering it as like a straight line. When you are in the unlocking stage, you have to also remember past experiences, past successes that you had, even though they might have not been in alignment to what you're trying to do now. But right now, this is what you want. But looking back at past experiences, past successes, it's a very important reminder for you to know that you can get there, even when those moments are shaped, if somebody is questioning what you're doing, if you're talking about it in the early stages. And another good suggestion I would have to remind you of is, if your calling is a big one, I'm not saying that you should aim for less. I'm saying that you should structure those goals in a way that there are small bites. The process of trying to achieve somewhere is one bite at a time. If you look at it from a smaller bite perspective, then it might be feeling less scary. Yes, it is very inspiring to think, oh, he reached out to these $1 million type of business now through YouTube alone or through other businesses alone. And that's what you might aim. But also, because the goal is so big and maybe it might be too far away from where you are at right now, it might down the road be making you feel like it's too much and it's something that you cannot achieve. So that initial excitement, which I mentioned before, which is good to have, it's also going to maybe go a little bit down, and that might make you not feel sustainable in this motivation that you have to pursue, especially if that you are already feeling weak in this moment, and then somebody external out there that you have been sharing what you want to do, maybe what it's called too early, might shake you even more. This is why I say it's important to have manageable bites, something that you can digest easily and it feels comfortable to your pace and where you're trying to be, but also where you are at. So you need to look into where I'm at, what impact it might have on me if I am actually going where I want to be. So this is why the unlocking stage is very important before you even start talking about what you want to do, which is in the rise phase. Once you now know what you want to do, you have unlocked these limiting beliefs or circumstances you needed to change to be there. Now you have to plan for it. And in the planning portion of it, there is also the communicating aspect of what you're trying to do and who you're trying to reach. So it is important to have a clear assessment of who you're going to help with what you're trying to do.